You ever open your laptop for something simple and then just sit there for a second? Because suddenly, there are too many things open. Tabs, notifications, half-finished work. Nothing is crashing, but nothing feels clear either. Now here's the part most people don't realize. That same thing is happening inside your mind right now. Unfinished conversations, decisions you delayed, things you meant to do but didn't. They don't disappear. They stay open, running quietly in the background. And the more of them you have, the harder it becomes to think clearly, focus properly, or even relax without feeling like something's missing. So you assume you're tired or distracted or just not disciplined enough. But that's not the real problem. Your brain isn't failing, it's overloaded. And in this video, you're going to understand exactly why that happens, why your mind refuses to close the tabs, and how to finally clear the noise without forcing yourself to work harder. Chapter 1. The Invisible Weight. It's 11 p.m. You've been home for hours. You didn't really do anything. And somehow, you're exhausted. Pause. Think about that. How can doing almost nothing feel like doing too much? That's not laziness. That's cognitive load. More specifically, open loops. An open loop is anything your brain has registered, but hasn't finished. And here's the part most people miss. It doesn't have to be important. It just has to be incomplete. That message, that email, that idea you said you'd start. Your brain doesn't store these quietly. It keeps them active, running, cycling, interrupting you at the worst possible moments. Ever notice this? You sit down to work, and before you even begin, your brain reminds you of 3 random unfinished things. Not because you asked, but because it refuses to let go. That's not distraction. That's pressure. And it builds. Here's where it gets weird. Your brain doesn't care how big the task is. It only cares if it's unfinished. So 10 tiny things can drain you more than one big project. Because a project moves forward. Open loops, they don't move, they spin. And every spin costs energy, real energy. The same energy you need to focus, to think clearly, to feel calm. Quick question. How many unfinished things are sitting in your mind right now? 3, 10, more? Because whatever that number is, that's what's draining. But here's the bigger question. Why does your brain refuse to let them go? The answer starts in 1927. Chapter 2, the 1927 discovery. Vienna, 1927. A psychologist walks into a cafe. She orders. The waiter doesn't write anything down, no pen, no notes, just listens and walks away. 20 minutes later, he comes back with everything. Perfect. Every item, every detail. So she tests him. Can you repeat the order? He looks at her and says, I don't remember. Wait, what? He remembered it perfectly until it was finished. That psychologist was Bluma Zeigarnik. And what she discovered next explains your entire mental exhaustion. She ran experiments, gave people tasks, interrupted them halfway, then asked, what do you remember? The unfinished tasks? People remembered them almost twice as much. This became known as the Zeigarnik Effect. Here's what it means. Your brain creates tension around anything unfinished, not stress, tension, like a song that never ends, a question without an answer, and your brain keeps replaying it until it's closed. This is why you randomly remember emails at night. You replay conversations from days ago. You feel pressure without knowing why. Your brain isn't broken. It's doing its job. But here's the problem. Your brain was designed for survival, not modern life. It treats a missed email the same way it once treated a missed hunt. Everything unfinished, sex important. Everything important sex must remember. And all of that runs in the background, which leads to this. You feel slow, foggy, slightly overwhelmed, not because life is hard, but because your brain is overloaded. And now it gets worse, because this isn't just a feeling, it's measurable. Chapter 3, the 40% drain. 40%. That's how much productivity you can lose, just by having too many open loops. Not 5%, not 10%, 40. Let that sink in. A researcher named Sophie Leroy discovered something called attention residue. Here's how it works. You're working, you switch tasks, you come back, but your brain doesn't. Part of it stays stuck on the last thing. Another part jumps ahead to the next. So now, you're here, but your mind isn't. Ever reread the same line 4 times? That's not distraction. That's fragmentation, and it stacks. Each unfinished task leaves a trace. Each trace takes a piece of your focus, until eventually you're operating at half capacity, or less. That's why simple tasks feel hard, clear thinking feels foggy, and effort doesn't match results. You're working, but not fully. And here's the dangerous part. Most people think this is their personality. I'm just not focused, I'm just lazy. No, you're overloaded. Your brain is busy finishing things you never finished. But here's the twist. You don't need to complete everything. You just need to convince your brain that it's handled. And once you do that, everything changes. Let me show you how. Quick pause. If this is hitting a little too close to home, subscribe, because this is the kind of thing you forget and then regret not coming back to. Close that loop now. All right, here's the fix. Chapter 4, the system that frees your brain. Most advice says, just finish your tasks. That's wrong. Your brain doesn't need completion. It needs certainty. It needs to know, this won't be forgotten, that's it. So here's the system, and pay attention, because this part changes everything. Step 1, empty your mind, not organize, not plan, just dump everything, every task, every thought, every I should. Write it down, all of it, because the moment it leaves your head, your brain relaxes. Instantly, you'll feel it. That's not motivation, that's relief. Step 2, make it physical. Work on project doesn't work. Your brain needs clarity. Ask, what's the next action? Not abstract, physical. Open laptop. Write sentence. Send message. Clarity kills resistance. Step 3, kill the small ones. If it takes under 2 minutes, do it immediately, because tracking a 30-second task costs more energy than doing it. You've been carrying tiny tasks for days. End them. Step 4, lock the rest. Not later, not soon. Pick a time. Put it in your calendar. Because once your brain sees a real plan, it lets go. The loop closes, not because it's done, but because it's safe. That's the shift. Handled beats finished. And here's the line to remember. You don't need an empty schedule. You need an empty mind. Right now, you're carrying invisible weight, unfinished thoughts, delayed actions, open loops, and your brain has been holding all of it. That's not failure, that's design. But now you know how it works, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. So do this, get everything out, make it clear, close the small ones, schedule the rest, not to be more productive, but to finally feel clear, because that mental space, it was never gone, it was just occupied. Before you leave, what's the oldest open loop in your life right now? Drop it in the comments. That's step 1. And subscribe so your brain doesn't have to remember this later.